have shown this article before, but I'm going to show it again because there were hundreds of these stories all over Europe. Hundreds alone in the Czech Republic where their top doctors came out and said, Baxter Pharmaceutical knowingly put bird flu and tried to put it in the vaccine supply. There's no way this was an accident. And then nothing happened. Then we learned that bird flu by an unnamed company was mixed in with vaccines all over and given in secret trials to homeless people. In one homeless shelter, they killed 21 people. This is the London Telegraph. Now, the reason I raise this is that we have CFR meetings that we played clips of where they make fun of us and say there's no mercury, no adverse reactions, no Guillain-Barré's disorder, no sickness, no autoimmune, no deaths. When every major vaccine always causes this stuff, and when they do have these reactions, they say, well, that's part of the bad reaction, and we expect that to happen, and that's an acceptable loss, collateral damage. We have Dr. Rima Laibow, who is a top medical doctor, joining us, and her husband is Major General Albert N. Stubblebine III, U.S. Army retired. And to go over his bio is just amazing. He was known as an out-of-the-box thinker, who was the head of special forces, the head of different intelligence groups. In fact, let me just read the bio so I don't get it wrong. And then for an hour and 50 minutes, we've got both of them live from Germany joining us today where they're fighting Codex Alimentarius, and we'll recap what that is, get into the flu, the swine flu, the bird flu, how school children everywhere are being forcibly inoculated, and the talking point when parents get mad or the kids go to the hospital, that's New York Daily News, is oops. Bert is a graduate of the U.S. Military Academy West Point, class of 52. He enjoyed a distinguished 32 career in the U.S. Army. He retired as the commanding general of the United States Army Intelligence and Security Command. Prior to his assignment, he commanded the U.S. Army Electronics Research and Development Command. During his active duty career, he commanded soldiers at every level. After his retirement, he served as a VP for Intelligence Systems, BDM, a major defense contractor. He brought these experiences to leading-edge medical research and development in collaboration with his wife, Rima Laibow, and then the bio just goes on and on and on. But all these decades of work and research, even being the head of intelligence, it finally all came into view for him in the last 6-7 years, and he agrees in past interviews, it is the end game. Mass extermination, a total police state grid to carry this out. And Dr. Laibow, who's treated heads of state who she's talked to who are aware of the extermination plan, and they say they're sad about it, but they have to carry it out. But doctor-patient privilege, she can't discuss it. It's like a reporter can't tell you their source. That's why they tell doctors and pastors and lawyers and psychologists things like this. So they're both with us, and I don't know where to start with everything that's happening. Again, you're at Codex Alimentarius. Hit that first, what we're facing, then the flu, the forced inoculations that are going on covertly at an ambient level, being turned up slowly. Is this all a command and control beta test for future pandemics? Dr. Rima Laibow and, of course, Major General Albert N. Stubblebine III. Welcome.
Well, thank you so much, Alex. Let's finish talking about Codex, which I think is a long-term genocidal weapon of the globalists, and then link it to the vaccines, which is a shorter-term, immediate assault, but that's against the backdrop of the long-term poisoning of the immune system of the people of the planet. Now, those are very, very strong words. Happily, the people who listen to your show are used to those strong words. Often when we talk about this, people glaze over and go dumb. But I think your listeners are prepared for this information, and that's terrific. We are at the Codex meeting where the infamous Dr. Rolf Grossklaus is presiding over an international body that is looking at and making standards and guidelines and setting limits for nutrients and foods for special dietary uses. What does that mean? That means foods for babies, weaning infants, sick people, and they are also bringing to fruition a program to limit nutrients, which we in the United States are used to having at any dosage that we want, high-potency nutrients, are, for instance, part of how I practice medicine and how I live, as a matter of fact, and they are for about 131 million people in the United States as well. Today and yesterday, the United States delegate, Barbara Schneemann, at this meeting made it clear once again that the FDA, and she is the head of the Dietary Supplements Office at the FDA is perfectly comfortable working with an international body of unelected bureaucrats to eliminate high-potency nutrients. That means to bring down your maximum permissible upper limit of, for instance, vitamin C to 45 milligrams a day, vitamin D to 5 international units per day. I personally take 10,000 units. The legal limit will be 5, with or without a prescription. Vitamin B6, 1.3 milligrams. Biotin, I take 8,000 milligrams of biotin, of biotin per day. The upper limit will be 30. And so it goes item after item. However, the one item that will be permitted in high levels is, fluoride at either 3.5 milligrams per day, which is an astounding amount of the neurotoxic, endocrine toxic, bone toxic poison, which makes people sheep-like, or 4 milligrams per day. These are astounding amounts. And Dr. Schneemann, in a little piece of theater that I did a video about and that you can read about at our website, healthfreedomusa.org, and our blogs and blasts that we put out during the Codex meeting on a daily basis, Dr. Schneemann said, I think that since nutrients are food, and they are under U.S. law, then the nutrient upper limits should apply to them as well on a global basis. That's in violation of U.S. law. So the game is to make sure that nutrients are available in such low doses that they can do no good. Why? Well, think about this for a moment. The World Health Organization says that the non-communicable preventable diseases of undernutrition are cancer, cardiovascular disease, stroke, diabetes, and obesity. Those 5 diseases are the principal killers of the developed world and increasingly the developing world, and they're also the principal money makers. So, if you mandate global malnutrition, which this does, the nutrient reference value upper limits mandates global malnutrition, undernutrition, and then you have the pharmaceutical company making lots and lots of money from the chronic degenerative diseases of undernutrition while people die from their deadly treatments, what you have is depopulation for a profit. And that is, in essence, Codex. But then you segue right over to the next WHO program, which is vaccines. Go ahead, General Stubblebine.
Before she segues, let me just add a little tidbit to all of this, because everything, if it were presented to you as a genocidal program, you would say, what? You'd get on your hind legs and you'd scream, and you wouldn't stand for it. However, all of this was done by saying, oh, don't worry. All we're doing is putting these values on the labels so that you will know what you're getting, and it will have no impact at all. You'll just have the knowledge so that you can select what you want.
As a consumer.
Yeah, as a consumer. And what they don't tell you is that the plan eventually will be that the only way that you can do international trade with all of this is to be under these limits.
And they do tell each other, they just don't tell the public.
They don't tell the public that eventually, in order to do international trade, you will have to live by these limits, and therefore there will be no international trade of anything bigger than what these are these limits that they've set at this meeting.
But what happens?
Cover-up.
But what happens is that the United States government on October 11th, 1994, the FDA announced in the Federal Register that it is committed to harmonizing with, and that needs to have the first four letters capitalized, HARM,